I saw the charge while my 7th graders packed their backpacks. $1,784.62 to Glade Travel, Orlando. I hadn't booked a vacation. Someone had used my card. At 28, I taught 7th grade English in Orlando. I knew how to spot a bad excuse. Teachers learn to read patterns fast. Handwriting, excuses. In friendship, the tells are quieter. There's the one who pays early, the one who Venmos late, and the one who treats "I'll pay you back" like a personality trait. You know that friend, the charismatic planner who makes you feel boring for checking your balance. In our group, that was Kayla. I pulled up the statement again in the parking lot outside Lakeview Middle. Orlando heat fogged the windshield, while the pending charge stared back at me. 4 nights, 2 guests, deluxe escape package. My card was saved on Kayla's phone from months ago, when her Uber app glitched, and I let her use mine after trivia night. I had forgotten about it. Autofill hadn't. That's how this happened. One lazy thumb and a story you tell yourself later about it being an accident. I texted her a screenshot. No punctuation. No softening. "Did you just book a trip with my card?" The little dots popped up immediately, then disappeared, then popped up again. Borrowers improvised. They buy time with charm, emojis, and a fragile promise. You start wondering if you're overreacting, if you should let it slide because good friends don't make money a thing. That voice is how dignity goes missing, one discount at a time. Kayla finally replied, "Oh my God, I think this is a mistake. Please don't freak out. Can I call?" I sat there with the AC blasting, steady more than angry. I am trusting, but I'm not soft. Boundaries aren't drama, they're maintenance. If you've ever taught middle school, you get it. Expectations only matter if you hold them. I tapped call and listened as the ring cut through the hum of the car. Once, twice, 3 times. Kayla picked up on the 4th ring, breathless, like she just jogged across a parking lot. She said it was autofill. She was rushing. She meant to use her own card. She'd fix it tonight. Borrowers always have a storm at their back. Dead batteries, bad Wi-Fi, a line at Publix. You're supposed to feel rude for asking for clarity. I kept my voice even and asked for specific. What did she book? When? Was there a refund window? Silence stretched, then a quick, "It was like an hour ago. Don't be mad." That last part mattered more than anything else she said. I called Singlade myself. Hold music, a chipper voice, then policy. There was a 60-minute correction window for payment method changes. After that, it got complicated. I checked the timestamp in my banking app. 53 minutes. You learn, after enough classroom chaos, that real apologies move with the clock. I looped Kayla into a 3-way call. The rep asked to confirm the traveler names. Kayla spoke too fast, then stumbled. The rep read it out anyway. Kayla Warner and Tanner Shaw. So not a random glitch. A planned getaway. Charged to me, with a promise to tidy it up later. I didn't yell. People who rely on your calm count on the fact that you rarely lose it. They spend against your restraint like it's a line of credit. You, listening to this, might think it's just money, and she'll pay you back. But repayment doesn't restore trust. It buys silence. I told the rep I needed the charge moved now. We had 6 minutes. The rep said they could swap cards if the traveler submitted a form immediately. Kayla said she was not at a computer. I told her to use her phone. She sighed. Borrowers make your urgency feel unreasonable, like you're the one creating drama by insisting on basic boundaries. At 62 minutes, the rep came back with regret in her tone. The window closed. The booking locked under my card. My choices were a chargeback with penalties or Kayla sending full payment by end of day so I could keep my credit intact. I opened my bank app and froze that card. I told Kayla, simple and clean, that she needed to add her card to the booking or I'd dispute the charge first thing in the morning. She sent a $50 Venmo to show good faith, which felt like tipping a house fire. A new email hit my inbox from Singlade. Balance verification required. If payment source changes, submit by 5 p.m. tomorrow. The clock had started, and this time it was mine. I spent my prep period calling the bank again, switching the card from freeze to replace, and setting an alert for any travel charges. Practical steps were boring, but they kept my credit from becoming a group project. Singlade's email gave me a clean lever. Submit the payment change form by 5 p.m. tomorrow or I dispute it. In situations like this, the calendar is your friend. People who blur boundaries hate clock. They prefer vibes. You need something neutral and non-negotiable to to point to. At lunch, I checked Kayla's Instagram. There it was, a pastel countdown sticker. Orlando escape, 11 days, and a boomerang of 2 resort bracelets clacking together. Borrowers curate optimism the way accountants track receipts. If you're paying attention, the truth is in the props. Bracelets, hashtags, a boyfriend named Tanner, who appeared in every frame where money would matter. I screenshotted everything, not for drama, for sanity. Paper trails were ballast when feelings tried to twist. I texted Kayla to meet me after work at Harlan's Coffee on Colonial. Bring Tanner and the card you'll use. I'll bring the form. I printed 2 copies and highlighted fields. Because if a task can be derailed, it will be derailed by. Where do I sign? Boundaries aren't meanness. They're instructions for how you get to treat me. You, sitting here, might still wonder if I was being harsh. But delayed consequences are still consequences. The gentle thing was clarity. Kayla arrived 20 minutes late with a breezy apology and a $6 latte. No Tanner. She'd left her wallet in Uber, which was impressive, since she'd posted a story from her car 5 minutes earlier. I slid the form across the table and said we could call Singlade together. She floated alternatives, payment plan, after the trip. My next paycheck is on Friday. I told her the only plan was the one that removed my card before 5 tomorrow. The mask slipped for a second. Annoyance flashed. People who live on favors resent the person who stops being one. She tapped her phone, then set it face down. I'm trying, she said. When I walked out, my phone buzzed with a new message from an unknown number. This is Tanner. Please stop stressing Kayla. We'll handle it after the trip. Tanner's message read like a warning dressed as courtesy. Men like him orbit a spender's optimism and treat boundaries as mood swings. I didn't reply. I made a group text with both of them and wrote what mattered. Singlade will accept a new card until 5 p.m. tomorrow. If it doesn't change, I'll dispute the charge. Please confirm you're submitting the form today. That wasn't anger, it was policy. You need policy when charm drags the conversation into feelings. I called Singlade again and asked for a supervisor. I explained the situation without embellishing. She added a note to the reservation. Cardholder not traveling. Payment must match cardholder at check-in. Present ID. It wasn't perfect, but it gave the front desk a script if the card stayed mine. She emailed the same form to Kayla and CC'd me. I replied with a short line. Kayla, please submit by end of day. I will confirm with Singlade. Paper replaces panic. Screenshots beat speeches. At school, I graded essay intros while my phone buzzed with fluff. Kayla sent heart emojis and promise I'm on it. Tanner followed with a long text about how I was ruining the vibe and it's just a timing thing. Borrowers pitch time as a victim. Fragile, always slipping, never their fault. I muted the thread and asked the bank to flag any attempt to raise my credit limit. Then I looped in Janelle, the math teacher who keeps her life in spreadsheets. She didn't rant. She asked one question. What result do you want? I said I wanted my card off the booking and my friendship to feel like friendship again. She nodded like a calculator. Then tie every action to those 2 outcomes. I sent one final message at 3 p.m. For clarity, acceptable outcomes are 1. You switch the card today, or 2. You pay the full amount today and I leave it. No future favors. Anything else I dispute. Kayla replied with a $300 transfer and the words, more Friday. Friday was after the deadline. I rejected the partial and told her to submit the form. At 4:12 p.m. Singlade pinged me. No update received. At 4:28, the supervisor forwarded a note she placed. Payment source unchanged. Verify card and ID at check-in. I set an alarm for 4:45 and opened the dispute page, my cursor hovering over start. Boundaries, like bell schedules, only work if you ring them on time. At 4:45 my phone chirped and the room felt like after-school quiet. No kids, just the hum of the copier down the hall. People who borrow against your patience expect you to blink on the buzzer. The teacher in me didn't blink. I sent one last text to the group thread. 5 minutes until I file the dispute. If you submitted the form, send confirmation now. Kayla called instead of replying. Her voice came soft and pressurized. The tone you use when you want the other person to make the hard thing go away. She said the form kept erroring. Tanner was driving. Money was weird this week, and I was making it bigger. Borrowers stack variables like sandbags and hope you'll see the flood and back up. You can be compassionate without being available for misuse. I told her I needed a submission receipt or a full payment today. She exhaled into the phone. You know I'm good for it. That line is always the last coupon in the wallet. I clicked Start Dispute. The bank page walked me through questions I already knew the answers to. Authorized? No. Card present? No. Evident? I uploaded screenshots, the booking email, the Instagram countdown, the texts, the form CC from Singlade. A progress bar crawled, then a clean banner. Claim open. Temporary credit applied. Merchant notified. Relief didn't rush in. It just leveled the floor. You, hearing this, might think it's extreme, but boundaries aren't punitive. They're clear signage. This lane is closed. 2 minutes later, Tanner sent a paragraph about loyalty and ruining a trip over paperwork. He added a request on Venmo for $1,784.62 with a note. Since you're paying anyway. The pettiness was almost elegant. Borrowers turn accountability into insult, then ask you to make it tidy. I declined the request and took a screenshot. Janelle stopped by my room on her way out, offered me a ride, and nodded when I told her the dispute went in. Good, she said. Keep everything written. Enablers will call you cold. Organized people call you wise. I called Singlade one last time and asked the supervisor to read the reservation note back to me. Cardholder not traveling. Card and matching ID required at check-in. Otherwise, a new payment in full is required. Perfect. I forwarded Kayla the bank's dispute confirmation and that line from the supervisor with a simple sentence. My card will not be honored at check-in. She didn't respond. At 6:03 p.m., a new story popped up on her page. Clinking glasses. Manifesting good vibes. I closed the app, set my phone face down, and graded essays until the sun slid off the classroom whiteboard. Boundaries held. Tomorrow, I'd see what friendship looked like without them bending. The front desk called during homeroom. A calm voice asked if I authorized 2 guests to check in under my card. They had my name, the last 4 digits, and a pre-auth ready. Policy kicked in. Cardholder not traveling. ID must match. Borrowers count on your discomfort with confrontation. They hope a stranger on a phone will make you forget your own boundaries. I told the clerk no authorization would be given and thanked her for following the note. She apologized for the inconvenience, like I wasn't the one being inconvenienced. 15 minutes later, my screen lit up. Kayla, they're saying your name is on everything and you're refusing to help. Tanner added a paragraph about hospitality being flexible, and me weaponizing fine print. That's how this personality works. Turn clarity into cruelty, urgency into attitude. You've seen it. The charming planner stranded by reality, begging you to carry their luggage over the finish line. I replied with one sentence. Provide your own card. They'll take it. Then I put the phone face down and passed out a quiz on thesis statement. By lunch, the group chat woke up. 2 mutual friends sent soft check-ins. People form around spenders like orbiting moons. They enjoy the glow of plans without reading the receipt. Janelle cut through the noise. If the card isn't hers, she shouldn't be charged. End of story. I didn't forward screenshots. I didn't litigate intent. Oversharing is how you end up coaching your own boundaries to death. I wrote Kayla privately. If you still want to go, pay the resort. If the bank reverses the credit, we'll sign a repayment plan by Friday. Otherwise, this isn't my problem. She showed up after school with a smoothie and a soft apology. It was the kind built for sympathy, not repair. Stress had been crazy. The form glitched. Tanner forgot his wallet. Borrowers use weather words. Storms, vibes, chaos, because weather isn't anyone's fault. I kept it practical. Full amount, today, or a written schedule with dates and totals. No future favors. She flinched at written. Accountability feels abrasive when you've been living on cushions. You're being harsh, she said. I told her I was being precise. Around 3, Singlade emailed a final note. New card collected, booking updated. They got the room, just not on me. I didn't feel triumphant. Wins like this are quiet. You keep your credit, you're calm, and a clearer picture of who's in front of you. Kayla texted a heart and, we're good now, right? That's the closing move. Treat resolution of the crisis they created as proof the relationship is fine. I typed, then deleted. Precision deserved daylight. I told her we'd talk after they got back, and then I'd send terms for the temporary credit in case the bank clawed it back. Then I set a calendar reminder for Friday and walked to my car, lighter by an invisible weight I hadn't noticed until it shifted. They posted through the weekend, kayaks, pool chairs, the obligatory sunset with earned. In the caption, the only honest frame was a story tagged "Front Desk Nightmare," where Kayla called policy hostile and wrote a paragraph about people making vacations harder than they have to be. Borrowers perform inconvenience like it's a crime against joy. You're meant to see their fun as fragile and your boundaries as the enemy of lightness. I muted the feed and graded essays on clarity, which felt on brand. I built a folder in Google Drive labeled Singlade and dropped everything in: screenshots, emails, a timeline. Teachers keep receipts because we live in the land of. I never got that. Janelle skimmed it at lunch and said, "Good. Now decide what friendship looks like with a receipt attached." So I typed out terms for 2 paths. If the bank reversed the temporary credit, Kayla would repay in 4 equal transfers, dates, and amounts listed. If the credit held, money would never cross between us again. No shared tabs, no "I'll Venmo later," no ride shares on my profile, no login saved anywhere. It wasn't a manifesto. It was a draft for a life I could stand living. They texted from the resort like nothing had happened. A picture of a frozen drink. "Wish you were here." Then a line about, "We smoothed it out at check-in. No thanks to you." That's the pattern. Create a fire. Call yourself a hero for bringing water. Blame the neighbor for not handing you their hose. If you're the steady friend, people often mistake your steadiness for a service. They'll say you're overreacting, and the louder they say it, the more you know you aren't. I replied once, "Glad you got it handled. We'll talk when you're back." On Tuesday morning, the bank emailed. Additional documentation requested. Temporary credits are like substitute teachers, useful but provisional. I wrote a brief statement, signed it, scanned it, and sent it with the folder link. I also called Singlade to confirm the final folio showed Kayla's card, not mine. The supervisor read the balance line by line. Clean. No incidentals on me. Relief doesn't throw confetti. It clears the static in your head. Kayla landed that night and texted a selfie with a keychain shaped like a flamingo. "Gift for you." Then, "Can we do brunch? Miss you." Souvenirs are gestures that pretend to be repair. I suggested something less performative. The quiet table at Harlan's on Sunday at 2. Bring the card you used, and we'll sign off on whatever the bank decides. And going forward, no more shared money. She sent the crying laughing emoji. Then, "You're so official." Precision sounds cold to people who thrive in warm blur. I put the draft and a black pen in my tote. If friendship survived, it would be on paper this time. If it didn't, I'd still have my dignity. Signed and dated. Sunday at 2, Harlan smelled like baked sugar and espresso. Kayla slid into the booth with the flamingo keychain and a smile that aimed for reset. People who live on charm try to restart the scene like the last act didn't happen. They'd bring gifts to soften fact. I thanked her and set the keychain aside. Then I pulled out 2 papers and a pen. Borrowers hate paper. Paper makes stories into obligations. She glanced at the first page and winced. "Are we really doing contract?" That's the question you'll hear when someone benefits from blur. I kept my tone steady. The first document was simple. If the temporary credit reversed, she'd repay in 4 equal amounts by specific dates. The second wasn't about money at all. It was a boundary sheet we both signed. No shared accounts, no saved cards, no "catch me later" tabs, clean rails. We could still be friends, just not financiers. Kayla reached for joke first. "You sound like a principal." Humor is a smoke bomb when accountability walks in. Then she tried pathos. "I've just been under so much pressure." She traced a finger along the edge of the paper, like it might cut her. I listened without editing the moment into sympathy. "You can care about someone's stress and still refuse to pay its bills." She said she could sign if we pushed the dates a smidge, and if the "no shared money" thing was flexible for emergencies. Emergencies are how chronic becomes permanent. I pointed to the lines, dates, totals, no exceptions. Her phone lit up. "Tanner, again." She read, sighed, and turned the screen toward me. A text about how friends don't do paperwork, and "this is controlling." People who benefit from looseness will always call your structure control. They want you back in the soft place where favors feel like affection. I told her the documents were the only way I knew how to keep us both safe. She looked at the flamingo keychain like it could argue for her. "This makes me feel judged," she said. Feeling judged is different from being accountable, but it wears the same coat in certain light. We sat in the quiet of clinking cups. Kayla tapped the pen, then set it down. "I can't sign something like this. It's not how I do friendship." That sentence was the small reveal I've been circling all week. You hear it and realize your past leniency wasn't kindness. It was subsidy. You listening, might want to negotiate the edges here, make it softer, give her one more chance. But the teacher in me knew the calendar, and the consequence were already generous. I slid the pages back into the folder and thanked her for meeting me. She left the keychain on the table and said, "I hope you rethink." Precision had felt cold to her. To me, it finally felt like room to breathe. I left Harlan's with the folder and the flamingo keychain in my tote. Some endings don't slam, they click. You hear the latch and know the room is changing. People who rely on blur call that sound cold. It isn't. It's air returning to its job. If you've ever been the steady friend, know the weight of being the emergency contact and the wallet. The body remembers when that weight finally lifts. Mutual started pinging. Kayla had already framed the brunch as papers and ultimatums, like I drafted a treaty instead of trying to keep us both whole. I typed a single reply I could copy and paste. My card was used without permission. I asked for it to be moved. I won't share money anymore. When you don't argue feelings, people find their way back to facts. Some did, a few didn't. That's fine. Every boundary is a sorting hat. The bank email landed Tuesday in 5th period. Claim resolved in your favor. Merchant did not contest within the window. Clean. The money question disappeared without firework. I forwarded the note to Kayla and added, "No repayment needed. Please remove my info from everything." 10 minutes later, my phone flashed 2 declined alerts from old subscriptions I'd forgotten she'd logged into during a girls' night months back. Rideshare and a food app. Not malicious maybe, just habitual. That's the point. Someone's habits keep cashing checks she never wrote. I changed every password, scrubbed saved cards, and turned off split bills on anything we'd ever touched. Kayla texted a long paragraph about how friendships shouldn't need legalese, and how my trust issues were punishing her for a mistake she'd already fixed. Borrowers pitch themselves as redeemed the moment the crisis passes, as if repair erases pattern. I responded with the shortest truth I had. "I'm not angry. I'm done mixing money. I wish you well." She shot back a laugh emoji, then, "You're being dramatic." Drama was the thing I'd spent a week refusing to fund. Janelle found me at the copier and asked if I felt lighter. I did. Not euphoric, just even. Even was new. I put the flamingo keychain on my desk and stared at it like a little thesis. Charm without function. There were still small logistics. Kayla's casserole dish from a potluck lived in my cabinet. One of my paperbacks lived in her trunk. I sent a final text that took more backbone than any dispute form. "I'll drop your dish and the keychain on your porch. Please leave the book on mine. No need to talk. I'm in it." You, hearing that, might crave a big speech or a last scene, but grown-up endings are usually errand. The dignity is in how quietly you run them. I dropped the dish and the flamingo keychain on Kayla's porch just after dusk. When sprinklers hissed and the streetlights flicked on, her Ring camera blinked blue. I kept my face out of frame and set the note I'd written. 2 lines. Nothing sharp, under the dish. "Returning these. Book on my porch. Take care." Tanner's truck was in the driveway. I didn't knock. Endings don't need witnesses. Back home, a reusable grocery bag sat by my mat with my paperback inside. No text, just a sticky note tucked as a bookmark. "Good luck with your rules." It wasn't cruel. It was honest about our mismatch. If you've ever ended a friendship without a fight, you know how quiet objects can feel. The book was still warm from a car, and for a second I remembered Kayla laughing on a trivia night, waving down a server for fries, making ordinary evenings feel like a show. Charm isn't a lie, it's just incomplete. The week slid back into school rhythm. Argumentative essays, pep rally schedules, a PTA email about raffle baskets. When the final letter from the bank arrived, case closed, credit permanent. I filed it in the folder and put the folder in a drawer. I cleaned my passwords again, cleared saved cards from delivery apps, and removed Kayla from the favorites widget on my phone. I didn't block her. You don't need locks when the door is properly shut. If you're the steady one, that's the shift. Not harder, just clearer. On Saturday, I walked the Winter Park Farmers Market and bought peaches with a crisp tap of my own card. No split tabs, no "I'll Venmo later." Just peaches and the calm of paying for what I chose. I stopped by Harlan's and sat at our old table. The chair across from me felt like a scene change, not a loss. People want stories where someone is all villain or all saint. Real life is a ledger of habits. Kayla was generous with delight and reckless with responsibility. I had been generous with patience and stingy with boundaries. We both paid. I kept the flamingo off my key ring. It wasn't a trophy or a warning. It belonged to another story. Sometimes The healthiest thing is to let a friendship end without inventing a scandal to justify it. I finished my coffee, graded a few papers, and texted Janelle a peach emoji. Then I went home to plan Monday's lesson on claims and evidence. In class, I'd tell my students that a clear thesis isn't icy, it's kind to the reader. Boundaries work the same way. They don't make you hard, they make you honest. And when I slid my card back into my wallet, it felt like putting a promise where it belonged.